All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott here. And as part of my JPS Desk, Jeff Teaches Programming YouTube channel, as you probably have heard if you've watched the first one or two, I've got a Jeff Teaches Programming C# in this first video, the only one that's out here right now. It was an intro to let you know what's going on. I did a second one, which is about 16 or 17 minutes long, which explained how to install Visual Studio. So now, time to write a little code. All right, so if you come down to here, all right, you can see it looks like a little purple bow tie, I say, and that will allow me to start up Microsoft Visual Studio. If you don't have that, or if you don't see it, you can always click over here and find Visual Studio 2022 here, if you brought it up already, or go down alphabetically, and there's Visual Studio 2022. All right, so when you do this, what you want to do, and again, we're going to write 4 programs in here. They're going to be all simple programs. If you've never done this before, they may not seem simple at all. All right, but I'm going to click Create New Project. Now it's going to ask me the type of project I want to create in here. And you'll notice, again, there's a lot of them in here. All right, and if you want to be able to narrow that down, I want to do a console app first. But if I just type in here, console, you'll notice how it changes it. Now, this is a little confusing because a project for creating command line app that can run on Windows, Linux, and project for creating, here's one that's project for creating a command line application that can run. It looks like it's the same thing. All right, but that says VB and that says C#. This says .NET Framework, and I'm going to use either this one or this one. I don't remember which one, but I'm going to show you the difference between them. All right, so I want this. It says C#. I'm going to try this one, and I'm going to click Next. Of course, then it asks me, what do you want to call it? Where do you want to put it? And you'll notice there's a name of a project, and there's a name of a solution. The solution is basically, for lack of better words, that's the folder that this is going to go into. The project is the name of the application that I'm going to create to put into that solution. By default, they have the same name, but I don't want them to have the same name. So I'm going to call this my first, kind of a bad name, I guess, but my first C# console app. And you'll notice by default it wants to put it right there. I don't want it there. All right. Well, it says, where do you want to hold this? Well, I want this to go onto my desktop. Again, you know, depending on what you're doing, etc., you can choose wherever you want, of course. So it changed to desktop, and I don't want this to have the same name. All right. I want it to have a solution name. So I'm going to put in here C# programs. All right, and I'm going to hit, now I want you to look first, because if I do come in here, I do not on here, you'd have to look, I guess, but I do not have a folder called C#, whatever I just called that, C# programs. I'm going to see if it'll make one right now. So I'm going to click Next. All right, and it says, what framework do you want? Well, typically you'll want to use the one that's most current, that has long-term support, LTS. So I'm going to keep that one. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is. And I'm going to click Create. There is my folder that says C# programs. And if I double click on that folder, just so you can see it, because I'm going to get out of here momentarily, it's creating the project. Since I've just loaded all this stuff, that's why it took a little longer. This is what I want, and this is the wrong one. So that's okay. So I've got this here, and there's my first C# app. Well, I'm going to get rid of all this. Delete. It says you have to close it. Okay, let's close it. Okay, don't save. And all right, let's see now if we'll let us close it. Let's remove this. There. So it's empty. So I now have in here an empty folder. All right. So let me start it up again. Hey, I'm going to make mistakes. So again, I'm going to click Create New Project. I'm going to, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to go to type in console again. All right. And I do want, but I want this one, I believe. All right. So it is C#, you can see right here, ConsoleApp.NET Framework, a project for creating a command line application. So I'm going to click that one. I'm going to click Next. Let's just call this first. C# console app. All right, you'll notice again, now remember that I've got this, but I don't want it to go here. I don't want the solution to be in there. All right, so I'm going to put in C# programs. Now, may or may not like this. In fact, let's just do this just to be sure. Let's get rid of this folder. All right, so C# programs, first C# console app. All right, and click Create. All right, so there is my C# programs, and I should have a folder in there in just a minute that says first C# console app. That's what I want. Now, don't worry, I'll make this bigger in just a second. But you can see here now I have first C# console app. Another way that I can open this up if I want to is I can double click on the solution file. But it's already open. So let me make this bigger so you can see what's going on in here. Now, I don't expect any of this stuff that's in here to make sense. We'll go over all of it, but for writing something as simple as we're writing, we can keep the using system. We don't even need any of this other stuff. All right? Don't worry about what any of this stuff means right now, because if I explain it to you, it's still probably not going to make a boatload of sense, and that is okay. All right? Let's see. I want to see if I can, whoops, I don't want to do that. There was one other thing I wanted to put in there, which is a shortcut. I think it's static dot. I think this is what I want to type in. Using static system.console. All right, it's going to be a shortcut, and I'll show you why we're putting it in just a minute. In this first real simple program, I'm going to ask a person for their first name. I'm going to ask a person for their last name, and then I'm going to say hello, followed by the person's first name and last name. Now, there's a lot of ways, as you can guess, that I can do this, but I'm going to do it in the simplest way I can think of and try to teach you something. So I'm going to create 3 variables. And what's a variable? It's something you create whose value can vary. So I'm going to create a variable. It's going to be of type string, because I'm going to put in there, I'm going to call it first name. All right, so it's going to be first name. All right, now it's got a thing in here. You'll notice it's even, this is called, it's trying to help me here. It's IntelliSense, but I don't want to add that yet. And I'm going to make another one that's going to call be string last name. And I'm going to create one more that's called string full name. I don't have to create that one, but I'm going to anyway. All right. Now, I want to be able to put a value into the first name. So I'm going to say first name equals. Now, I can type this in here. I can type in exactly what I'm going to show you. I can type in system.console.readline. And it'll work just fine. No problem. Okay? This says go out to the system, this thing right here, and find the console class and read what I'm about to put in and stick it into first name. But since I added this using static system.console, there's a little bit of a shortcut. All I have to do is put in readline. And you'll see it still works. Plus, you see the little squigglies here are gone. So that's first name. All right. Now, the bad thing is if I do it like this, all right, if I do it like this, it is going to accept it, but it's not showing me any information. In other words, there won't be anything that's going to help me much in here. So I want to put in here, let's see, what do I want to say? As an example, I should be able to type in this, read line. All right. In fact, I want to write. I'm going to type in here, write line. In fact, just put a write. Please enter your first name. All right, now it should sit there and say, please enter your first name, and then stop. Then whatever I enter, the first name should go into first name. All right, so let me copy that. Why? Because I want to say, please enter your last name. And then last name equal read line. So I will now have last name, and I will have first name. Now I'm going to say full name equals first name plus, and notice I'm going to use this IntelliSense here. It says I want to put in the first name and then a blank space and then the last name. To have it accept this, I want to hit the tab key. All right. And now I'm going to put in write line. And I'm going to say hello plus full name. Now, if I run this right now, it'll actually work, but it's going to basically flash right off the screen and we're not going to see anything. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one more read line here. And we're going to see if this works. Then we'll come back and look at the entire program. All right. Now this is going to appear on a DOS-looking screen. So it'll be a black screen with white writing that you'll see in just a moment. So let me save this. So File, Save All. And then I'm going to click this little arrow right here to start the program. And we'll see if I have any mistakes. All right, so here it is. I can make this bigger. So please enter your first name. Oops, try that again. I don't know why that even did that, but please enter your first name, Jeff. Please enter your last name, Scott. Hello, Jeff Scott. Okay, it worked. Now, if I left that read line off, let's do that. Okay. So let's take this line. In fact, let's comment it out. To comment it out, I'm going to put in ///. You'll see it turns green, and I'm going to save it and run the program again. All right, it'll look just the same. So Jeff, Scott, and I guess in that case, it is just going to stop like this. All right, sometimes it'll just will go right off the screen. That's actually probably better to do it the way I just did it. Okay, so let's look at this line by line. I think this program would work without that line, but system basically takes everything that's available to you from what's called the system class and it makes it available to you. One of the things that's in there is this console. And again, this is a shortcut so that I can write in here rather than system.console.write. You'll see it still works, but it's just less typing that I have to do. All right. All right. This thing is a namespace. Basically, this is what's holding our program. All right. It's sort of synonymous with our folder name. All right. Everything that we're going to do in here basically, unless we change it, the name, is going to be in a class called program. Don't worry about classes. That's an advanced topic. You don't have to worry about it for right now. When you write a console program like this, everything that you do is inside of main. All right. You can include things that you want to add there, and those are called arguments, and they're put in as what's called an array of strings. And again, if this isn't making any sense to you, we're going to be going over it again and again and again, so don't let it worry you. This language is case sensitive, so the main has to have a capital M. It returns nothing, so it is void of a return. All right, there's only one main that the program will share, and it's static, meaning there's just one of them. This language, everything you do almost gets put between curly braces. Okay? So I have three variables here. So I'm going to put a comment here that says declare variables. Okay? Now, I could put another comment here that said this was first name, this was last name, this was full name, but hopefully that's pretty self-evident. All right, so let's put another comment here that says input first name. Then we'll put another comment here that says input last name. Now, you might have noticed, too, that these didn't line up. So if I put another space in here, now they will. All right. This, you think, well, I'm going to add them together. Well, basically, it's not known as addition when you're working with strings. It's known as concatenation. So I'm going to concatenate first name and last name together. All right. And then here, I will write hello message. You don't have to put in all these comments, but I'm just trying to show you everything that's happening in here. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to run it one more time. And you'll notice that now the first name and last name, these will line up. That's really the only change I made other than adding comments. So let's run it again. So please enter your first name, Jeff. Now you'll notice how it lines up. So Scott. And hello, Jeff Scott. And there's our first program. All right. So we've got one down. All right, let's write another one. So what I'm going to do, and we'll go over what all this stuff means later, but it's not that important right now, is I'm going to close this. In fact, we'll keep it open. That's fine. But I'm going to start up another project. All right. So in my solution here, remember the solution is kind of like having a big folder. So I'm going to right mouse click on my solution, and I'm going to choose add new project. And again, it's going to be console. And I don't want this one. I want the next one down here, which is this one. You can use that first one, but I don't know. What I'm trying to do is show you the easiest way, or what I consider to be the easiest way of doing things. Now we call this one first FirstTwoConsoleApp. I'm gonna write two consoles in a row. I'm gonna call this second FirstTwoConsoleApp. You'll notice it already knows where to save it because we've already put it in this folder. It's got the framework and stuff set up, so I'm just going to click create. Now we had this program right here, and let's put what I like to call a little prologue in here at the beginning. Now I can put a / because I'm going to make it about 3 or 4 lines long, or I can do a multi-line comment with a /*, and then I can end it with a */. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, this is my first C# program. It is a console program which asks the user to input their first name followed by their last name. The two names are then concatenated together and printed out as a welcome message. I'm just making that up. You, of course, could put anything in the world in there you wanted to. All right, so there's our first one. Now, if it's confusing to you to have these both up, just close this one. There, now we've got our new one up. So I'm going to again remove all this, and again put in that little shortcut, which is using static system.console. Okay, and you'll notice that other than that, it looks pretty similar, except before it said first, and now it says second. Okay, and I believe since I put a pound sign in there, it replaces it with an underscore. That's just an internal thing. You know, don't worry about that. Let's put another thing in here. What we're going to do is, let's see, I'm going to write another program that does a little bit more. Whoa, don't know what happened there. But I'm going to write another program that does a little bit more than what I did before. All right. So this is my second C# console program. It will ask the user to input a number. It will then determine and print out whether the number is odd, even, or 0. Note, the program will break if we input a non-numeric value when asked for a number. So it's easy to break this program. More to come on how to fix this at a later time. Okay? All right. So again, the idea is I put in 37 and it should come back and say 37 is odd. I put in 56. It should come back and say 56 is even. I put in 0 and it should come back and say 0 is neither odd nor even. Something along those lines. Okay? So we'll start in here. Again, we will declare. We only need one variable. In fact, let's see, we need let's make 2 variables. We'll make our first one, which will be a number, but we're going to make it twice. We're going to actually have 3 variables. I'm going to have a string, and we'll call this number str for string. Okay? And then we'll have another one that'll be, it won't be a number. And we're going to expect it's a whole number. So I'm going to put int in here, meaning that it's a whole number. And we'll call that number. All right? And then we will have another string that's going to be called odd, even, or 0. Okay? Now, first, let's read in the value of the number. Now, if we do this, if we say, this isn't going to work, so what I'm going to show you isn't going to work. So if I say number equal, all right, and I come in and do my read line thing, read line, it's going to give me an error because read line expects what you're reading in as a string. We're trying to put a number into a string. We're trying to put a round hole into a square peg, so to speak. So I'm going to get around that by saying number str equals read line, and you'll notice that goes away. All right, so that'll read in the value of the number, and here we'll say convert the string to an int, which is the type of variable it is. So I'm going to say number equals number str dot to, oh, what is it? Oh boy, I got to remember how to convert this. I apologize. Let's see once. Well, there's different ways that we can do this. Let's see. Let's try this. Can we say int dot? There we go. Equals try parse number string. I think we need to say int dot try parse. Okay, it doesn't like that, so how about int 32? Well, let's look. Notice here it says no overload try parse takes an argument. Well, maybe I've got it backwards. So can we say number string dot? Nope, that isn't it either. Okay. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm doing all this off the top of my head. I have no notes. I have nothing here. So let's see. Let's go back to our buddy here on the internet and how to convert a C# string to int. Use int.parse. Okay, so it's a little int. Oops. Okay. Now, this is where it's going to break, and I'm going to show you it on purpose when we do that. All right? So now I've got this. I've got a number, as long as I put a number in there. So I'm going to say here, and I'm going a little, making this a little bit maybe more difficult than it has to be for where we are in the class right now. But I'm going to say if number modulo 2, meaning if I divide it by 2, in fact, let's do it this way. If number equal 0, all right, so then we added a 0. We didn't put in a odd number or an even number. So if we did that, we're going to do a write line that says 0 is neither odd nor even. All right. So if we got that, we're done basically. All right. Sorry if you do hear the clock in the background. So else, whoops, that was wrong. Try that again. Else, if number, this means divided by 2. If it has no remainder, why, Jeff? All right. Then we'll put write line. Well, we want the number. And just to show you this, it'll work if we just put in the actual number itself. But I'm going to put in here number dot toString is even. All right. Whoops. All right. Else let's just grab this because we just have to change the word even to the word odd. So the number is odd. All right. Now, just to be sure, again, at the bottom here, I'm going to add another one of those read lines so it doesn't scroll off the screen. And it may not anyway. So this is our second one. Let's do this first. There's got to be a 0 there. In fact, let's leave that off. Okay, I'm going to leave that off. There's an error here. Notice it says invalid expression, but I'm going to save it, and I'm going to run the program with an error in it. And it comes back, and in here, oh, it still ran the second one. That's good. The system still thinks that I want to run the first program. Since I want to run the second one now, I've got to right mouse click on my new one, and I've got to put in here set as startup project. That means I want to run that one. All right, I will save it again, and I will run it. And I'm going to get an error. It says there were build errors. Would you like to continue? Well, there was no successful build. Really, more than 99 times out of 100, you're just going to click no there. But it says invalid expression term. It's letting me know that line 38 had an error in it. And then it's letting me know odd, even, and zero was declared but never used. Well, let's fix this one first. If I double click, it takes me right there. If I put a 0 there, now that error is going to be gone. You see that it is. But I've got this variable that I never used. Okay, well, why? Why did I add that then? Well, I'm going to show you quickly another way to do this. So I've got here right line even, right line odd, and even and odd. So let's just look at how we do this another way. First of all, this will work now, but let's run it just so you're sure that it works. So save all, let's run it. Even though I've got that, that's just a warning that's letting me know I've got something in there I'm not using. All right. And why isn't it? Well, that's interesting. It's not showing me anything. I don't think I ever asked for it to input the number, did I? I did not. So number string equals this. I should put that in there. So right line, or right, please enter a number. There. That'll help. The program didn't know what I was trying to do. I guess neither did I. So please enter a number. Let's try all three cases. So I'll put a 0 in. 0 is neither odd nor even. Well, that's good. It worked. Let's run it again. And we'll put in 37. 37 is odd. Well, that's good. Let's run it again. And we'll put in 56. 56 is even. It all appears to be working. All right, and it's totally fine the way it is. I could just take this and remove this line, and I'd be done. Okay? But I'm trying to figure out a fast way to show you this. Okay, this string here, I'm going to take this line that I put this right line here, and I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to comment this out, okay, and I'm going to comment this one out. All right. And I'm going to change this to, what was it, odd, oops, call that odd, even, or 0. All right, and I'm going to say here odd, even, or 0 equals we'll put in here 0 is, well, actually we could leave this whole thing we've got in here. I'll just put it like this. All right, so 0 is neither odd nor even. We'll do it like that. Otherwise, we're going to say odd, even, or 0 equals the number This is a little redundant what I'm doing right here, but I'm trying to show you something, so hopefully it'll be worth our while. All right, and here we'll grab this one. All right, so I have no right lines in here right now. They're all commented out, so you'll notice that if I save this program and I run it, it will ask me for a number. But if I put in here 78 and hit enter, it just sits there because there's nothing else for it to do. So what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to say right line, odd, even, or 0. And odd, even, or 0 will have the value in it 0 is neither odd nor even. If I put in a 0, it'll have the value, the number, for example, 23 or 24 is even, or it'll have something like the number 23 is odd. All I'm trying to show you here is if we wanted to add another variable. Some people would say this is redundant or superfluous, I guess, because you really don't need it. All right, but I've got that in there anyway. So let's try it this way. And we'll run it again, and it should work exactly the same way now. So if we put in 0, 0 is neither odd nor even. And it's getting a little painful almost to have to keep running this, but we'll go over loops later where we'll be able to run this program again and again and again. 34 is even. And 33 should be odd. So it's all working. So I've shown you now 2 different ways that you can come in here and you can write this. All right, I don't want these videos to get too long, and I'm already at 36 minutes. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to write this again. All right, I'm going to write both of these as GUI or graphical user interface apps in just a moment. Let's just do a file save all here. All right, and I'm going to actually bring up this first one here that I had. Okay, and I'll be right back.